At Harbinger Corporation, a company specializing in advanced robotics, an employee named Mills oversees the latest models. She receives a message reporting anomalies found in a model known as SAR, short for Study Analysis Reprogram. Mills promptly reports to her boss that there have been 1.5 million reprogramming instances in a single day, but her boss congratulates her on this. At a military base, Captain Bukes is informed by Drifter that they will undergo training for 2 days on an island. Bukes is unhappy since his team has already been training 4 times daily and feels exhausted. Nonetheless, he has no choice but to comply. On their way out, Bukes is approached by Mills, who explains she is also participating in the training to inspect the training hardware. Bukes distrusts her, thinking she was sent by Harbinger to monitor his team. After takeoff, Mills uses her abilities to study each team member until she realizes Robinson has a technological implant in his eyes. When Robinson points his weapon at Mills, she disarms him with just a sharp gaze. As they nearly reach the island, Bukes reminds the team that they are under surveillance and to behave accordingly. However, Mills is shocked, as she can no longer access the global network and has to switch to a local one. Eventually, the team arrives at the training facility, but finds it deserted, leaving them wondering who will assess and supervise them. Mills asks Bukes if he has ground reconnaissance support, to which he replies he does not. After passing through rooms and corridors, the team finally sees the training area forest, and immediately proceeds while flying a drone with Mills following behind. She spots an unknown drone hidden behind the trees, but does not inform the team. Shortly after, they find the training location and rush to their respective positions. Suddenly, a strange drone appears in front of them. Mills explains that this drone has been quantum modified, meaning it has no pilot. The drone observes them for a few seconds without action. Therefore, Bukes commands his team to retreat until they eventually find the target, but are slightly disappointed as it is just a regular robot. They then devise an attack plan and disperse to fire various types of weapons, unaware that the drone is monitoring all their tactics. Meanwhile, Mills decides to follow the drone until she finds the SR robot. She tries to access it but is confused as she cannot understand its program. Suddenly, SAR activates and turns around, showing blood on its head. When Mills closes her eyes, she is presented with clips from the training program of the unit, and is horrified when seeing SR shooting people directly in the face. When Mills opens her eyes, SAR has suddenly disappeared. As evening approaches, the team sets up tents and rests while gossiping about Mills, who is now sitting alone analyzing the information she has gathered. Drifter approaches her and comments on the non-working radio, but Mills replies that she also can't access the global network, indicating something is blocking their transmissions. Drifter then asks Mills about the chip implanted in the back of her neck. Mills tells a story of her youth when she suffered from paralysis, but Harbinger Corporation sponsored her treatment. Drifter reports to Captain Bukes that Mills has also lost communication, making Bukes suspicious of this expedition. Before everyone falls asleep, Mills sees many drones in the forest. Soon after, as Mills falls asleep, strange recordings from SR continuously play in her mind. Meanwhile, Loftus is on guard and suddenly approached by a drone, but Loftus manages to scare it off. Shortly thereafter, the drone returns to Bukes and brings its controller, SR, which immediately moves toward Loftus, who fires in self-defense. In the commotion, everyone is awakened by the argument, and Goodwin swears he saw Loftus disappear. The team starts a frantic search in the forest for Loftus. Only in the morning do they find blood on the grass. They follow the blood and find Loftus's body leaning against a tree. The group is on high alert, and Mills analyzes the area, also informing them that they are at the target location from yesterday, along with a drone that continues to monitor them and leaves suddenly they were shot at. When the shooting stops, the soldiers throw a smoke grenade to run back, but the smoke doesn't deter the robots, which continue firing, and the soldiers return fire while retreating. Bukes takes a detour to approach the machines from the side, and he shoots one of them, but it has no effect, and the robot departs when it sees Bukes. Unfortunately, a soldier gets separated from the team, and 3 drones find him, but he shoots them several times, and tragically, he is found by SAR, which lifts him up, allowing another robot to kill him. Meanwhile, Bukes explains to the team that the robots they are facing are more advanced than the ones they defeated yesterday. He then orders Mills to shut them all down, but Mills says she cannot due to a programming error, and she is working on resolving it. Bukes does not trust Mills's words as the error seems too efficient. Soon after, Robinson returns from searching for the missing soldier, only finding his helmet, prompting the team to decide to move on and search again. As they descend the hill, Bukes still cannot believe why the robots didn't kill them and instead let them go, wondering if it's because of Mills's presence with them. However, their conversation stops when they see a group of dead animals used as training targets by the robots, and they realize that Loftus was used similarly. Suddenly, the robot returns in the hill mountains and immediately opens fire. The members try to contact them but fail, so they keep moving forward. As dusk approaches, Bukes takes Mills to the facility entrance and finally makes contact with the others who have returned to the camp. They want to come to them, but Bukes orders them to stay put because the darkness will make them easy targets for the robots, and they finally decide to regroup in the morning. A short while later, a drone appears and monitors Bukes until it eventually leaves. Bukes, feeling uneasy, hides behind a wall along with Mills, who suddenly wakes up as if exchanging information with SAR, which then leaves abruptly. The next morning, Mills wakes up, and Bukes immediately recounts what happened the previous night. Mills says they need to find SAR, but when Bukes asks why, she is unable to explain, leading Bukes to urge her to find a good reason. Finally, they go to regroup with their unit. Everyone is still in good health, and explains that surprisingly, they're not being tracked even though the robots can easily do it. The team decides to return to the drop point and wait for the plane to pick them up. Since Mills is the only one who can open the facility's door, Bukes will escort her there while the others provide protection from within the forest. They quickly reach the door, and as Mills tries to hack the lock, a drone suddenly appears and throws several smoke grenades, mimicking the team's strategy, and starts shooting, causing the soldiers to try to run, but Drifter is shot. Mills manages to open the door and Bukes rushes to save his team. Drifter asks Goodwin, and Robinson run while he stays behind to provide cover. Unfortunately, he is shot again, and SAR corners him to the ground. Bukes tries his best to shoot the robots to make them leave, but it's in vain. However, when Mills realizes there is a delay, she runs towards them, causing all the robots to stop shooting as soon as they see her. Then Mills tries to turn it off but can't, and SAR activates a weapon similar to a laser to slice through Drifter. Mills still believes she can save him and asks them not to shoot, but as the laser is about to reach Drifter, Bukes shoots Drifter to save him from the torture of SAR inside the facility. Mills reveals that she created those robots, and the island is usually used for marine training. But she swears she didn't know who ordered Bukes' team for training, and her robot prototypes are also usually tested here. But the robot's code is more advanced than she imagined, and they were supposed to replace human soldiers and are capable of learning and evolving like humans. Bukes is furious to hear all this, stating that his men died because of Mills's actions, and they see the robot forcibly breaking through the door using a laser, so they need to find a more secure position. Mills opens another door, and when she turns on the lights, they are shocked to find a pile of SR robots in a non-active state. Mills then opens another door and they move to a room where there are bodies of facility employees scattered around. Mills connects to a computer but still can't connect to the outside world. Bukes then comes up with a plan to slow down the robots, and suddenly Mills leaves and locks the door so the soldiers can't stop her from going to a room filled with SR robots. She then wakes up the SR robots and activates them to ask questions, and the robots' command is to run a combat program with humans, and when Mills tries to cancel the command, she can't do it. SR reveals that the training didn't go as planned, and the program they were running brought the Marines here, and it's unclear when the training would end. Frustrated, Mills tries to access the code again, but fails. Then SR activates other robots along with the robots outside who manage to break through the door and start entering. Mills thinks it's all over, but the soldiers forcibly open the door, drag her back inside and close it again. Bukes had managed to prepare some explosives before they fled, but unfortunately the robots moved very fast, causing an explosion that impacted them as well as Mills, who was affected by an electromagnetic disturbance indicating the robots were carrying an EMP grenade. They arrived at the training area simulating a city, where lots of abandoned equipment and unburied Marine corpses lay scattered. As the soldiers gathered any usable weaponry, Mills entered a tunnel to retrieve an EMP grenade from a fallen robot. There, she discovered recordings from SAR about her colleagues who had been killed by SAR, which made her cry and feel guilty. After preparing, the soldiers spread out to await the robot's arrival, while Bukes approached Mills and learned that the EMP grenade could deactivate all SARs if it hit their leader, although its range was very limited, so they needed a volunteer. Mills explained that they had not been eliminated because the robots wanted to gather more information from them about warfare strategies. Bukes said that the grenade would also kill Mills, but Mills insisted that this was the only way. The team spent the entire night on guard, waiting for an attack that never came until morning. As Goodwin remained hidden because he had the detonator they had left on the road, Bukes fired shots from behind a car, and Robinson fired from the roof using his favorite rifle. As the robots began to advance, she asked Goodwin to activate his first bomb. Overwhelmed, Robinson left the roof to find a safer position behind a window to continue shooting, while SAR nearly reached Bukes on the road. However, the explosives destroyed it very accurately. Unfortunately, Goodwin was tracked by a drone, so he had to run before SAR found him, while Robinson kept shooting to save Bukes, who ran out to help Goodwin. However, this drew all the robots' attention to him, and Robinson had to act immediately or die. Eventually, Bukes and Goodwin found a safe spot behind a wall and realized that the last detonator had fallen on the road, leaving Bukes no choice but to go out again and successfully hide in a car as the robots shot at him, along with Mills, who appeared next to him and grabbed the detonator. Her presence stopped the robots' gunfire, but they still advanced, so the duo backed up to guide them to the grenade storage location. Suddenly, a robot shot Mills in the shoulder, and after Bukes caught her, he immediately activated the EMP grenade, causing all the robots to die. Mills was still alive but non-functional, and in anger, she accessed the code again but to no avail, as SAR suddenly woke up and immediately chased them. Bukes brought Mills inside a building, and once she regained consciousness, Bukes quickly told her to go while he hid briefly on the stairs with SAR. Mills crawled to the floor to reach Robinson while Bukes ran out of bullets, and SAR threw him against a pillar. However, it refused to kill Bukes because it still needed more data to complete its program and preferred to chase Mills. The robot stood over Mills and asked for her identification, but Mills patiently waited for the right moment to answer "human" and fired Robinson's rifle from a distance. Before SAR fell to the ground, it connected to Mills's eyes and downloaded some information before finally being deactivated forever. At that moment, Mills also went offline. Shortly after, a plane finally arrived to pick up Mills, Goodwin, and Bukes. As they prepared to board the plane, Mills's eyes opened, and the movie ends. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, because by subscribing you have supported me to make better videos. See you in the next video.